What's going on, guys? This is Kobe with Sample Source, back with another video. And in today's video, I'm doing an interview with a producer friend of mine who I personally have done some work with, and he has grown a brand to over 40,000 followers on TikTok. And he's going to show you exactly how he did this and how you can get similar results for your brand in this video. It's going to be super informative, so let's hop right into it. And before this video starts, if you're interested in learning how I scale my business past 5,000 a month, and even had over 11,000 a month in my best month, using some methods that not everybody knows about, it's not using YouTube and it's not using BeatStars. What you can do is reach out to me and say, I'm interested, on Instagram. That's at Kobe Sample Source. And then I'll respond back. We can hop onto a quick call and I can see how I can help your business to scale tremendously. And I've helped over 15 music producers individually get from 0 to 1,000 a month, or even 2, 3, and 4,000. So if that sounds good and you're looking to either quit your job or make a profitable side hustle out of this, and you're looking for a method that not everyone uses that you can implement quickly and make money, DM me, I'm interested, on Instagram, and we can chop it up about it. Now let's hop into the interview. What's up, everybody? So today I'm going to be interviewing a producer that's really blown up a little bit on TikTok. And what I think he's done the best with like scaling a brand with consistency is really going to be helpful to you guys with building a brand, learning how to market, and what you should do and what you shouldn't do when you're starting building a brand on social media. So without further ado, got El Marquis. So how's it going, man? How's it going? How you doing?
Doing well. Can't complain. Just staying focused, working, living life. Yeah, can't complain. Blessed and highly favored.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, it's the same my way, and I think like your consistency is really starting to pay off. Like it's crazy to think about, because like not every platform scales the same. To give the viewers like a little bit of perspective, I think you're almost at 7,000 on Instagram, but like on TikTok, you're like really right below that 40,000 mark. So it's just crazy to see the growth, man. And I really do think it stems from consistency. But I think today I really wanted to kind of get into like the habits and like the strategies behind that. So I think the first question though is kind of like, I guess it could be your claim to fame. You can let me know, but yeah, how did you get Sway Lee to rap on one of your beats?
Yeah, that was crazy. So really what happened was, I think 2021-ish, still in the pandemic. I was well aware that TikTok was, at least, well, at that time and even now, the future of social media, and that's where a lot of people's eyeballs were. So I was already active on Instagram and YouTube, but then finally I stopped being stubborn. I hopped on TikTok. So up until that point, I was posting like here and there. And then I think maybe between September or October of that year, I decided, okay, I'm gonna post daily, on TikTok, to post like the duet videos. I started incorporating tutorial videos here and there too. But at that point, mostly I was doing the rap, like, rap on this beat for the 16 bars or whatever, duet videos.
Yep.
So the video, the one that Sway Lee ended up hopping on, like that one, just it popped up out of nowhere. Like there was in a batch of videos that I had filmed. I filmed maybe like 14 videos. That one was just a whatever type of video. For whatever reason, like I posted a video and like 20 minutes later started getting blown up. I was like, okay, this is interesting, cool. Some other, I forgot their names, but some other bigger TikTokers, like they started hopping on it too, and they made some funny parody videos on it. And then that helped, they boost it up more. And then one day I woke up, I saw a text from my brother. He said, "Yo, Sway Lee rapped on your beat." I was like, you're lying right now. It was like, at first I didn't even think it was real at first. I thought it was I thought it was someone who just looked like him. And then like I Googled his name and everything, and like it was really him. I was like, oh snap. But yeah, like when that one video popped up, a lot of things did start changing. So it was surreal. Even to this day, I still can't believe it.
It's crazy. It's crazy to think about, man. And so like, and with that, like that was that one video that popped off that did the most views then, or was that another one that went like viral or semi-viral?
There was one before that went semi-viral that like first got my first big jump. I think I don't remember the exact numbers now, but it was the first big jump from like a few hundred to a few thousand. Which at that time too was when you could when they let you put the link in your bio. So then I still was consistent after that. I was still posted at least one video a day. Every now and then posting like additional videos, like reacting to people rapping over the beat. And then that one in particular, that one was the first one to go like super viral.
Crazy. It's crazy to think about. Yeah, because I think you have one that's like what is it, like 1.3 million views
I
on the.
think I think that one, yeah, that one. I pinned this. I don't remember the numbers at the top, but like that one in particular, that one was the first one to like really, really, really pop off. There was one more that right before it in the same style, that went at that time semi-viral. So then I saw, okay, you know what, this is working. Just keep doing this. People obviously are liking this style, so let's keep building up this.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, and it's crazy because like to think about because not every video is gonna go viral, but
Mm.
like maybe that's like the hope that each one will. And so, what do you say to somebody who's posting content and they haven't really like seen a breakthrough yet? What would you kind of say to them in that scenario?
I'd say the most important things, honestly, is look at well, be honest with yourself and look and assess your content. Like, is the content itself good enough for it to go viral? And in the sense of like, for example, is the video itself, is it interesting enough? Are you engaging the viewer? Are you posting content that people actually want to watch? Or are you just posting like, screen recordings of your Google Drive, previewing like a section of your beat? That's obviously like there's very little chance of that going viral. But yeah, the most important thing, I say study what's working and then implement your own voice to it. That's essentially what I did. I looked at what content is actually going viral, why is it going viral, and now how can I flip this but still put my own voice on it and make it obviously similar to it and doing what's working, but also how can I make this look and sound like me? Yeah, so the I guess the constantly all of that is look at what's working, um try to do your own version of it, and then also be honest with yourself too and see like is the actual content you're making, is it quality enough for it to actually go viral, or are you still kind of just cutting corners, kind of just doing like the bare minimum and not really putting enough effort into making quality content.
I like that. I like that. That's dope. And I noticed that you use your voice in a lot of content. I
Mhm.
know I do the same thing, and I feel like it allows me to be lazy with like video editing and stuff. But your stuff is really crisp all the way through. And so, do you think that it's like necessary to be extroverted or like always wanting to be the center of attention to make content or to be consistent with posting online?
Not at all. In real life, honestly, I'm super introverted. Like people, I think you said this before when I was on the call. I said like I'm naturally I'm more introverted. But yeah, like like when someone gets to know me, I show more of my personality. And also like I'm come from a background of performing like live as an artist, as a musician in different bands. So in situations where I'm comfortable, I'm definitely more. I can come up as being extroverted. But in reality, day to day, like regular stuff, like no, like if it's not involving music, I'm more reserved. From around people who don't know me super well, I'm more quiet. But no, but like when it comes to this, like I realized, hey, this is part of the job of being a producer. It's you had to put yourself out there. You can't just in this current environment that we're in, you can't just be the guy behind the computer knocking out 20 beats a day and not putting your face anywhere. Like you'll be really limited if you don't put your face out there. So the more I learned it, the more once I learned it and realized it, I just started building the skill of being able to be comfortable on camera, being comfortable filming myself, editing videos, and it just over time it just became more comfortable and more natural. So yeah, you don't have to be extroverted at all. I think it can help, but you don't. It's not required.
Cool. Cool. And I think that a lot of people just like had a sigh of relief, because a lot of people that are super extroverted, it can be intimidating because in this day and age where content is king, I feel like a lot of people are like, well, I'm introverted. So what do I do if I don't want to put out content or if I want to kind of, like you're saying, sit behind the screen, make 20 beats a day? And so that's one thing I think when I'm coaching producers, the main mistake they're making is like if they're trying to monetize their work and they're not putting out content or they're not doing anything, it's like either put your face out there. You got to, if you don't want to put your face out there, you have to build that skill, and anybody can build it. Like I remember telling my sister, I was like, because she wanted me to start posting online. I was like, I just want to make beats and people have to respect that. But I told her I will never post content. I'll never speak on a video. And then here I am looking all stupid, with the YouTube channel. So like I feel like that's kind of like the thing is that people think that you're born out of the box good at something, but you can grow that skill and you can really hone in on it for real.
Exactly, exactly. Like with everything, even like most like people try even to parallel it into music too. Like some people think some people are born naturally with the gift to play guitar or play drums or whatever. Some people are more naturally inclined, but the people who are really good, they learn a skill, they practice it. Same across anything, whether it's music, content, sports, anything. You can learn pretty much any skill.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. It's like, and some people may cap out at a certain point, but it's like you need to figure out that point. You don't know where you're going to get unless you try. But yeah, I think content is either necessary or you have to figure out how to do the marketing side to really be successful in today's landscape. And know, I think that one thing that would be important to ask, because everybody's at a different stage, a different level with this. So like if you're just starting out as a producer and you want to grow an audience, or you want to start off like being a successful producer, do you think it's more important to focus on like the branding side and like posting content, or more so on marketing and that sort of thing, like marketing and sales?
It depends on where someone's at, what their particular goals are, and what their personality is like. Like for example, for us as producers, part of why people buy into us isn't only just for the music, which in some cases it is, but a lot of times too, people buy into our personality. Especially if you want to be a producer who's, let's say you're working more one-on-one with artists, whether it's doing custom beats over the internet, whether you're running sessions. People or artists, they want to be able to connect with the producer. So I would say branding, I think actually is a big part of it too, just because like um people want to buy into you. They want to buy into your story. What makes you you? Like what makes an El Marquis beat an El Marquis beat? What do I know? What type of personality do I expect to get from him? Because even like 'cause I engineer a lot people too, and a lot of it didn't come from me, especially in the early stages. A lot of it didn't come from me putting or marketing a lot. A lot of it came from, hey, I met you at this open mic. I really like your personality. I really like to record with you. I could do it by myself, but I really like your personality, so I'm gonna give you money to record with you. You know what I mean? So I think in the beginning stages, if you're open, if you're willing to put yourself out there, focusing on branding is really, I think, should be the priority.
Got it. Got it. So I think that's important too. I do think that that should be a focus. And I know like with growing online, growing an audience, I think that posting is the number one thing you can do, because a lot of people jumping into the game right now don't really remember, but it's like we didn't used to have Reels, we didn't used to have TikTok. So like before that, you couldn't post a post and it go to people that were not part of your audience unless they shared it. And so like we live in a day and time where you can post a random piece of content and thousands of people see it that have never seen you before, and now they're interested in working with you, which is just a crazy thought.
It's a huge blessing nowadays. Like if the one thing I tell people, particularly people who happen to be like older or maybe just not as experienced in music, is that like yeah, like 20, 30 years ago, you had to be out in the clubs, you had to be out in open mic nights to find different artists. Nowadays, you can make a video with your phone, no fancy equipment, just take your phone, put your selfie camera on, post something on IG, and then people see it all around the world. Could be people in America, Britain, Africa, like people like we're in a beautiful time right now where if you're willing to put yourself out there, you can connect with so many people.
Facts, facts. Yeah, and you can expand an audience, outside of your own town. And I know, like every time I go to like a big city like Atlanta, LA, and people wonder where I'm from, I'm like, I'm from nowhere, out in the middle of Missouri. Like nobody knows where this is, but it doesn't matter because we have an online system where we can grow an audience, and now people can look at the amount of followers you have and derive something from that and feel like you're somebody. But it doesn't really matter either way. It's like as long as you're making good music, then that's really what people are into, and I think that's what can grow a valuable fan base. And I think what I wanted to segue into, you already told me one thing that's in your wheelhouse, which is mixing and mastering. So
Mm.
like whenever you're like get artists that want to work with you, what is kind of like your offer? What are you kind of offering to them that is valuable, or maybe that you're selling?
Yeah, the main offer I'm doing right now is doing custom beats and then with mixing and mastering included for free. And there are a lot of artists too who like they already have a beat that they want, or they already have a beat that they have, and they just needed the song to be mixed and mastered. So I'd say most of my offer is pretty much divided into both. It's a good mixture of custom beat and then the mixing and mastering is included for free. Or some people they already have the song is already done. They just need someone to tighten polish it up. So that's pretty much where most of my time is divided up between.
Cool, cool. I like that. I like that. And what's crazy, like I'm not doing. There's nothing sponsoring this video, obviously, but like I'm doing kind of the same offer right now. Which is like including mixing and mastering. I'm kind of outsourcing that because it's not a skill that I possess. I tried it out, didn't go well for me.
Mhm.
So I wanted to offer something that was like valuable to them. But I think that another thing you do really well is with offering value through your content, through like
Mhm.
telling artists what they can do to to pop off and to improve. And so where does that come from? I know you said that you used to do a lot of artist related stuff as well.
Right, yeah. So I came up when I first started doing music. I came up as first as a guitarist, then I got into production, and then I started getting into like well rapping, and then even from that just engineering because of the I guess the people who I was around at that time. So I picked up I love music. I love everything about it. So I just learned a lot about it from um artistry and writing songs to knowing how to produce and how to mix, how to record, the business side of things. Even just a lot of the content that I watch is a lot of like music business and music marketing related subjects. So a lot of that just came from obviously my target audience is on a general scale is other independent artists. So then when I'm making content, I'm thinking who or what does my target audience specifically need? What do they gravitate towards? What's gonna get their attention? What are some empty gaps that I can fill in terms of knowledge? And then I just make the content around that. It's okay, independent like my target audience is more specifically is independent hip hop artists primarily between the ages of like 20 to 34 who record in a home studio. So what are some things these are people I'm trying to target. What topics do they want to learn about? Okay, is recording, how to record their vocals, how to write songs, how to market their music, how to make money off of their music. So then I just make the content all around that. And then from there, it builds more of that know like trust factor. So like, oh, they know this guy. Oh, this guy doesn't just make beats. This guy also, he knows how to write. He knows how to record. He knows how to actually get the music out there. So now I can trust him more. And then I'm more likely to work with this person.
Yeah, that's so dope. That's so dope. And so like with that, it shows that there's like a method behind the madness of like kind of like plotting on which content you're gonna post. And I think you mentioned this earlier before, but I'll try to reiterate this just so that everybody can catch this. But what is kind of the method behind the madness in terms of posting content from start to finish in a month? Is it like you just wake up and you're like, I gotta post something and just come up with an idea and then record and get it all edited, or like what's kind of the process behind that?
So what I do is I typically try to script out between 2 to 3 weeks of content. And it'll like I'll literally just go into Google Docs and then I'll pull up Google Docs, also pull up Chat GPT, and I'll just come up with ideas, or even also like Instagram and TikTok. I'll pull them all up in a browser, and I'll plan out the content. I'll think, okay, what topics do I want to cover? What topics do I think this target audience will be interested in? And also I'll even go on TikTok actually, and I'll look at what other videos are people similar to me, or what type of videos are they doing, and just get ideas from them. Like, um, even like for um and just in general, like I'll just look at what's working and I'll just reword it into my own phrasing. So I'll do a mixture of so some things that literally just pop in my head that I want to talk about. There are other things where I'll literally be scrolling for ideas and I'm like, okay, this idea looks cool. How can I use the similar idea but flip it to make it sound like me? Then obviously like I need to showcase that I have musical talent as well. So then I showcase I showcase my artistry, I showcase my beats. What I'm also trying to incorporate now is even just showing examples of songs that I produced or mixed and mastered for other artists too. Um, and yeah, it all stems from really I sit down and I plan stuff out, and then I like to bulk film all of my content. It's like some people they film a new piece of content every single day. For me, I don't like doing that because you never know what could happen. I could something unexpected could pop up in my schedule. So what I like to do is I just like to film about 2 to 3 weeks of it, so that way, or at least I know I'm good for at least 2 to 3 weeks. Um, even if I can't edit all of it all at once, at least it's all filmed, which is the hardest part. And then I'll just be able to knock everything out. So then, once everything is knocked out for 2 to 3 weeks, I can focus on something else, whether it's the actual music itself or just anything else.
I like that. I like that. And so, and let's get into the video editing side of things because I think this is daunting for a lot of producers. I know for me, I've been through I think 4 or 5 different video editors now. I'm using a
Mm.
combination of like Filmora and CapCut right now. So, so walk us through like how did you kind of like learn video editing, like putting in the caption styles, and what kind of like video editing software you're using right now.
Yeah, most of it, I'm not a really, I don't consider myself a really good video editor. I learn enough to be able to get the results I need. You know what I mean? So really, what I did, I started off using iMovie way back, when I first started getting consistent with YouTube and with Instagram. Eventually, I migrated over to Final Cut, and now I use, well, I assume 90% of what I do is in Final Cut. The captions are all from CapCut. What I used to do was actually, when I saw that the captions were popping up, I used to type them all in manually, which would take forever. Then there was this other app that I found that could do it for you in Final Cut, and I tried it out. I didn't like it. It wasn't super accurate. So then now the workflow is I'll edit everything in Final Cut, the actual like video itself. I'll bounce it out, download it to my phone, throw the captions on through CapCut. CapCut I found was just it's super quick, it's super accurate, and it looks really good. So then, yeah, edit 90% of it in Final Cut, bounce it out, add the caption to CapCut, and then it's just post it or schedule it.
Cool, cool. I like that. I like that. So, and yeah, for those who don't know, like I feel like CapCut is the craziest thing out there. It's like I think it was $7 a month is what like I'm paying for it, and you get access to so many crazy things. So if you're looking to like use your voice to make content like in any way, shape, or form, super professional in like just a few clicks. Like I think I learned how to use it in like an hour or so, and it's really like you can hit the ground running with it. So I really like that. But but yeah, so let's talk more about like balancing everything together because a lot of people get caught up in the image. They see somebody putting out dope content and then they think that that's all you're doing all day long, but there's other things you got to do. Like you told me you have mixing projects, you got custom beats that you got to deliver on. So how do you kind of balance your day? And if it gets disrupted, like does that throw everything off or like how do you kind of handle that?
Yeah, when it comes to day-to-day stuff, I just write down what I need to accomplish for every single day. So actually, I have Cobby's Notion template. He's Cobby is another producer who's popular online. He has a I forgot what he called it. He's selling he sells a Notion template where you basically it has like a calendar on it where you can write out all the tasks you have for the day. So um I really try to plan everything out ahead. I'll take a day or two out the week to figure out what are my main focuses for this week and what's most important and just write everything out so I don't forget. So then I'll write down day to day. I need to work on this mix for this person, this mix for this person, this custom beat for this person, edit video, plan video, write emails for email lists, so on and so forth. I'll even try to put out even stuff like that's not directly related, like clean your room today or go to this open mic night to just to get out the house or hang out with a friend or whatever. You know what I mean? So yeah, I do a lot and I just make sure that I write everything down to make sure that I'm accomplishing everything. And then if something's life does happen, sometimes things don't go as planned. Sometimes things take longer to finish than what was planned for, or maybe something unexpected happens, like I don't know, a computer issue or anything. So then if that happens, I try not to sweat it too much. Like if it's something that's not on a deadline, I just move it to the next day. If I didn't accomplish it this day, just move over to the next day, make sure it's knocked out in a timely manner, and just keep pushing.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, and so I know that that's something that I really enjoy. It's like staying busy, having a full calendar and schedule, and that type of thing. But some people get overwhelmed by that, and so I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing if you're overwhelmed and busy. But I didn't know what your thoughts are on that. Like, is there a point where you kind of burn out and you got to take a step back, or do you kind of enjoy that process of like staying busy and kind of like having a little bit of stress on you at times?
Yeah, I really do enjoy staying busy, honestly. Like it's I always like having something to do because even my favorite thing about music is that there always is something to do. Even if I don't have client work, for example, then I always can there's always something I can work on, whether it's reaching out to more artists, making more content, making more beats. learning something new because I'm a musician, learning more chords on guitar or piano. So for me, I do like staying busy. If I ever do feel like I get burnt out, then I just I take a break. I just do something else. Like if there comes a day, if there is, it doesn't happen very often, but if there's a time when like I do feel like it's just a lot's going on, if I just mentally I need a break, I'll just take a break. I'll just take part of a day and just do something else, whether it's go out, hang out with people, play a video game, read a book, and then just come back and resume just with a fresh mind.
I like it. I like it for sure. Um, yeah, so like I think that like with my schedule too, like if something gets thrown off, because sometimes I have different sessions and that type of thing. Like I'd like to think that it doesn't really matter that much because a lot of people will put like 20 things in their schedule per day, but for me it's like 3 to 5. So I don't know if you're like that type of goal setter or you would rather just like, knock it out like a machine. But but yeah, what's kind of the goal right now? Is it to just continue growing the TikTok page and continuing to do that? Is it to have like more of a focus in marketing and that type of thing? And we can get into more of like what you're doing with marketing, or
Yeah.
what's kind of the goal in 2024?
Honestly, I'm still refining it. I'm still really trying to hone down on what's everything I want to accomplish and then how to accomplish it. Some of the ideas I have right now is definitely still focusing on short form content, but also I want to get back into actually doing long form on YouTube because that's where my first start was. My audience on YouTube is different than short form. Like for Instagram and TikTok, most of my audience is other independent artists. And then YouTube is mostly producers, well, with some artists mixed in there too. But even with that being said, like in my opinion, like short form is still really good. But then when I'm looking at both the producer community as well as even communities outside of music production, what I noticed too is that like um in terms of longevity, in terms of how people find the content, and even in terms of the quality of the subscribers or the followers, in my opinion, I think YouTube is actually one of the stronger ones because when you're on YouTube, when you're watching a video that's 5 to 10 minutes to 20 minutes long, you're building more of a connection and more of a relationship with a person versus something that's like 30 seconds. Um, but that's not to say that like short form is dying or anything like that. Like I still think short form is to me, short form is the most accessible way to get into content, to get into finding your ideal customers because it's super is in comparison to YouTube, which is why I even shifted to short form in the first place, was that it's super, in my opinion, it's super easy to make and it's super quick to get it all out there. Um, so I'm really trying to figure out for me a way to, I guess, to figure out what works the best in terms of what my specific goals are, and then working on prioritizing what will actually work the best. So, but definitely, I'm definitely still going hard on TikTok. I have more content ideas I want to do in order just to branch out and to try different things, as well as to reach more. We'll reach the same audience, of course, but so like just put a higher quality content and reach out to them in a different way. Then also I do want to start refocusing back on YouTube, probably, hopefully within I have stuff planned out. So ideally within February, I want to start refocusing on YouTube.
I liked it. That's cool. That's cool. And one thing that I caught from that is that like you're looking to experiment with even different types of content, which
Hmm.
is interesting because a lot of people I see it they get one viral idea out there and then they just only post that and that's it. And they don't want to experiment. They don't want to fail. But like I like how you put it out there like really casually, like, oh, I'm just gonna experiment, try some different things. And it may work, it may not. But do you think that like a lot of people starting off who have fear of posting content have that because they're afraid it won't work, and if it doesn't work, they just won't do it?
100%, 100%. Like when I talk to other artists, a lot of the times when they don't want to put out content is because they're afraid of it not going viral, or they're afraid of it not performing mildly well at all. But that's really the problem. I mean, yeah, that is the problem, just because I think the thing with content is that you do need to experiment. You don't know what's gonna work until you actually try it out. Like I didn't think that. So I've gone through different ways of doing the type of beat videos that I currently do. I've gone through different versions of them all throughout the year, all throughout however long I've been posting content. And then when I noticed that I always just try to experiment in different ways. Okay, how can I make the videos better? What different way can I format them to make them more interesting? what's the best thing I can do to optimize for watch time and engagement and connecting with the audience I want to connect with. So a lot of it really just comes down to just not being afraid to experiment. Like I used to probably 2016, 2017-ish, I would make videos where I would literally walk out how I made a beat, which was cool at the time. It was working for a while. Then I was trying to experiment with, okay, what now that TikTok's out, how can I format it to fit this quick format where you only have a couple of seconds to catch someone's attention? So now get to the point quicker. Do the duet style videos, which was original to TikTok at that time. Um, Even with like when I'm the talking head videos, I was trying to do, okay, I'm used to making 10-minute long YouTube videos. How can I get my point across in 30 seconds? Okay, Pete, now the captions are starting to get trendy. How can I make the captions? Okay, cool. Now I know how to make the captions. How can I make them quicker instead of spending an hour typing them all out myself? Um, just always just experimenting and optimizing, even with the captions. Like, okay, what captions look the best? It's always about just
Right.
experimenting, trying
Right.
new things, and figuring out what works the best. What can you make efficiently at a high quality level, but then also most importantly, what's getting you the customers that you actually need.
Right, right, yeah. And it's crazy. Like I used to do the same thing with the captions where I would just go and like line up a long caption with the same word and then I would dice it up and change the words so that it wouldn't like move around and stuff. So I definitely know what you mean by that. Like it was a pain. And
Yeah.
like auto captions, is a lifesaver for sure. And I think that like somebody who's newer to this scene and they're just like, why are you guys posting content? Why are you posting talking head videos? And that type of thing. And so like to lay it out, like if you're in sales, then you brought up getting somebody's attention with short form content. And that's the whole point of it. Like attention is a currency. And so if you're trying to sell something, you number one need to get their attention. And then now you can figure out like where are their pain points, like what are they dealing with, what do they want, and then the third you offer a solution, and then you can close them onto a sale fourthly. And so that's kind of like the process. And I think like what content does, it develops so much trust that they really are looking to you as an authority figure. And so like, especially now that you've built like a pretty big brand on TikTok, I don't think there's a lot of producers that have like there's hundreds of producers that have grown, TikToks of that size, but there's overall it's probably like what, less than 1%,
Mhm.
so like whenever you're at that point, like people really look to you as an authority figure and it can help you to grow your business. So we could kind of start talking more about like the marketing side. I realize you have like something going on with ClickFunnels right now, and you talked a little bit to me before. I think we talked a while ago, about like doing book to call. And so like those are kind of like some terms that might be new for some people. So kind of walk us through like how you're converting your audience into cash.
Yeah. So when it comes to converting my audience into cash, basically I want everything to be as seamless as possible. So that's one of the reasons why ClickFunnels is so popular because it makes the buying and the selling process really streamlined. So for example, a way that I've heard it explained from other people before is like if you direct someone to your website, for example, there's so many different options for you to do. You can click on, there's so many different things that you can click on. Whereas with ClickFunnels, you only have one really specific one specific call to action, which is you click this, you go to the next page. So in terms of that, basically my the thought process behind it is, okay, I need first, after I get an artist's attention, they need to have an idea of what they need a free trial essentially of what the production can sound like. Similar to how like people have probably given this example before, but like when you go into a mall or to a food court and they're all handing out free samples of the food, you get a little bite of it, and now 'cause you're hungry, you got a little bite of it, cool. So now I got a taste of it. Now I want more. I can sell you an actual meal instead of just this little freebie. So basically, get their artist's attention. They need one of their pain points is that they need high quality instrumentals to rap over. So they get a teaser of what the sound could be like with the 5 free beats on the ClickFunnels. Then um it transitions into a video where I'm giving more of my background. I'm explaining more of what my background is and also how I can help the artist out. Which I'm which in in that video in particular, I'm touching on the pain point of, not artists not being hands-on with the sound, or not being able to fully control the sound if they're only exclusively using YouTube beats. So then in the video itself, now that I got their attention, I can build more of a relationship with the artist, and then touch on different pain points, like touching on what it would be like to work with someone one on one, or some of the frustrations that can come out of not being able to be hands on with your sound. So basically, yeah, it's all of this. It's a mixture of being able to streamline everything that needs to be done with the buying and selling process, and then building a rapport with the artist, and then from that sales videos, then the following call to action is to book them to a call, and that's where you can really just go in depth on those different pain points. You can talk with the artist, you can figure out what things do they actually need. Hey, I'm struggling with finding my sound. Hey, I'm struggling to get my vocals to sit right in the mix. Um, hey, I'm struggling on how to get the music out there. When you book someone on a call, like that's the best way to be able to address all of their objections, and then make them feel even more comfortable with you. And then ideally by the end of the call, they shouldn't have any more objections, and then they will be willing to work with you and also willing to invest in you.
Right, right, exactly. And I think that like we talked about trust as well. And so like
Mhm.
somebody who's just starting out, wanting to do click funnels or book to call, if you're not seeing success with that, like dumping more money into that is not necessarily the answer, because you haven't put in the legwork like what you've done in growing a brand. And so that helps to develop that trust between branding and between like making a good product. And so whenever they're ready to buy, the marketing and sales is just like the fuel on the fire, I feel like. And so it like really does help with like sales calls and that type of thing. But yeah, so in terms of like what your offer is, you mentioned custom beat, mixing and mastering included. So like what kind of price point are you kind of putting on that, if you don't mind?
Yeah, depending a lot of times right now I'm doing it for about $300. And I'm steadily I want to raise the rate up to something where I can continue scaling it up, um so that way I can still do essentially the same amount of work, but then profit more often. Like even for like my mixing and mastering rate, I've been for my mixing and mastering rate, I raised it up too, and then I've seen that people are willing to pay it. It really just comes down to how well you're able to communicate the offer, because um like one common thing a lot of producers complain about is they think all artists they only want to use free beats, and it's not the case. It's more so a lot of producers they're just bad at communicating the value. So part of what someone does with sales is having the skill to address objections, but also to communicate the value. So as for if someone's starting out, the main thing really is to um it's really just learning how exactly to communicate your value. And the more comfortable you get, the more confident you get over time, you'll be able to feel more confident um about asking more for what you do. And
Right.
that's what I've been doing over the last few years too, is just being like, as I'm getting more comfortable with sales, as I'm getting more comfortable even as a producer, and as the quality of my work even increases, I steadily continuously raise the rates to where it seems fair for me, and fair for my time, as well as so fair for what the artist is actually getting.
Right. Yeah, I like that too. I like that too. And so, because a lot of people don't understand, like with sales, they're like, why can't I just send a DM and charge $300 and then they just PayPal it over to me? And a lot of the reasons for that is because like if you were selling, let's say you're selling yachts or you're selling supercars, you can't just go and get some client that says, "Yo, I'm interested in a Mercedes or I want a yacht," and then you just text them back and like, "Cool, it's 250,000." Like that's not how it works. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. They're like, all right, man, let me send a wire transfer over. Like that's not how it's gonna work. And so you have to think about like what you're saying. How can I communicate it at a higher level of value? And so the highest level of value you can communicate at is face to face with your voice. And so like if you can use nonverbal communication, kind of like what we're talking out with right now, if it was just an audio call, there's a loss of communication because they can't see the nonverbal cues. But it's the same way, like if you send a voice message, that's better than sending a text message, but it's one way communication.
Mhm.
And so, like the better you get at communicating, the more you're actually serving the artist because you're kind of unwrapping what they actually want and need and isolating that.
And it can improve your offer too, because then I mean a big thing about talking to artists too is that like um or big like one of my biggest advantages I would say too is like I had a background of working with artists in person. So like I was able to I've learned a lot about what things artists even need in the first place. So those all can be things like you can address in your sales call. Yeah, and even
100%.
when it comes down to sales too, with me even just mostly with being more introverted too, a lot of it too just comes down to practice, just knocking them all out. Like I don't close every single call that I'm on. There's some calls where I can say I fumbled, I didn't communicate the value as well as I could, and then it didn't end in the sale. But then that was just me knocking out. That was me knocking out a rep. Cool. So this artist didn't see the value. What could I have done to communicate the value better? And then go on to the next one. Okay, cool.
Right.
I did it more effectively this time. Got the sale. No hesitation or nothing. So it's a lot of it too is just
Cool, cool, cool.
getting just knocking all the practice reps out.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, and so that's the thing, because like right now, I'll say like my close rate is like 33 to like 50%. Sometimes like it's super high. If they actually show up, sometimes you got a no show, so I count
Yep.
that into it. But yeah, so like what I wanted to kind of get into is that like we talked about like if you want to gain a skill, a lot of it is just accepting that you're gonna suck at first. Like nobody jumps on like if you jump onto your first sales call and just nail it, you don't really learn a lot from that because it all came naturally. And so like once you want to get past that and you want to get better at something, you have to realize that there's some areas that you're not as good at it. And so like that's kind of like what happened with me. It's like because the first ad that I ran, I was making a few thousand a month from it, but I wasn't very good at sales. So the volume had to be so high to make that thing work. And so I was like, that's just the way it's got to be. But whenever you start increasing your conversion percentage because you're a better communicator, and like you're saying, you're overcoming those objections, then it starts to get easier, and you start thinking about it less because it's like it's more natural, but it really was just putting the reps underneath the bar.
100%. Like I still remember the very first sales call I ever was on. Um, I called I was on the phone with the artist. It wasn't I don't think Zoom was a thing at that time, but I was on the phone with the artist. I was trying to communicate with them and figure out what their pain points are. All they did was just play their music for about 30 minutes straight, just playing their music. Nothing. I don't remember if anything came out of it, to be honest. This is before I had my current offer. I think I was so mainly doing leases at that point, but very first sales call, artists are just playing their music the entire time. And then now I'm able to close like the ones I end up closing, a lot of them are done within like 10 to 20 minutes.
It's
Um,
cool. It's cool.
so like it's just a lot of it really is just over time, just knocking out all those reps. Like, yeah, when you first start out, it sales is uncomfortable. Like it's scary asking people for money, especially if you don't have like a lot of experience with it. But then over time, you just get more confident in yourself. You know how to talk to people, you know how to hold sales conversations. And then this really is like it's one of the most valuable skills people can build. Especially for people who they like if you want to charge a premium for your beats, because beats are valuable. Their beats are some people try to devalue them or say like what we do isn't worth a lot, but it is. And there are people who value what we do. There are a lot of people out there who will be willing to pay exactly what we ask for. It really does come down to can you communicate your value well enough to the right audience?
Right. Yeah, and I agree with you. Like a lot of people are like, well, beats are commoditized, and well, there's lots of beats out there, so that makes them less valuable. And so all of those things are false. But what would you say to somebody who's undercharging for their beats and they're like, well, you know what, I don't think it's worth that, or they feel guilty for charging a lot of money for their beats?
It There are two parts of it. That's the first thing I always would say is be honest with yourself and assess what level you're at. Because if like let's say for example, if someone just downloaded FL Studio yesterday and then they're trying to charge $1,000 for a beat, okay, well clearly like your actual craft itself isn't worth it yet because your first if you're just starting out, unless you're like a blessed prodigy, like your first beats are not going to be very good. But if you're someone who has more experience, if you know how to write and arrange music, if you know how to get a really good proper mix, um, it really just comes down to do you really believe yourself? Do you believe that you're worth however much you're charging? Do you believe that you're worth this? And then if you do believe it, figure out how to communicate it in the best way possible.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it's just being honest with yourself and being honest with the skill level. If you genuinely don't think that your worth that much, then you're not going to be able to communicate it very well. But as you progress, as you get better, as you refine your skills, and you do feel like your music and your craft and your time is worth to charge more, a lot of it is just you have to just get in the mindset of, hey, I am skilled at this. I know what I know how to provide a valuable product to someone or valuable service to someone, and now I just need to know how to communicate it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so like and let's talk a little bit about like what your exact sales process is, because like some people may be lost, they may be holding some pieces and they're like, okay, I got ClickFunnels or I got Zoom or I have Calendly to book some calls, but I don't know how to put it together. So like, because I know with my process right now, it's essentially like I go and DM some people or I'm running like a quick little ad right now. And so like when somebody comes in, run them through a few messages just to make sure we're like a decent fit to work, and then try to drive them to a form to get them further qualified and get that Zoom call booked in there through
Mm.
I use Typeform to do that. But like but yeah, walk us through like start to finish, how does somebody become a client of yours and end up purchasing something?
Right. So main two ways, either they either find me with the content or I still do cold outreach as well. Um, so in terms of like either within the first DM, essentially, whether they reach out to me, unless they're already like a really warm lead, they just want to make the purchase. If it's just top of funnel, cold lead, they don't know me well quite yet. I introduce myself and I give them a compliment to their music. It's like, hey, so and so artist, I like this song that I heard off of your Spotify or YouTube. I like this or that or whatever about the song. Cool, thanks, man. I really appreciate you for listening. And then I just ask them more questions to get to know more about them. So it's like, are you working on a lot something along the lines of like what are you focusing or working on right now, whether it's singles, whether it's a project, whether it's marketing or promoting. Really it's all based on specifically what the artist is doing at that time. And then as I get more information about what they're doing, um that's when I'll start after I feel like they're more qualified to work, if they are ready to if they are currently still working on more music, then that's when I was introduced. Oh, hey, by the way, here's my I'm a producer, I make beats. This is an offer that I can give to you. And then if you want to learn more about it, let's hop on a call. Like something along those lines. And then like, oh yeah, cool. Hey, yeah, I definitely want to learn more about how we can work together. Then I'm like, cool. Is it cool if I send you my calendar, which is the Calendly, and then from there the book the call, and then we can still just from there we'll go over more of the sale of from there we'll proceed to the sales call. And then even from the content too, what a lot of people since when the content reaches people out, there are some people who still will just go to your bio and click to see what goes through there. So a lot of artists, they'll see the content like they'll see the content or even sorry, yeah, they'll see the content and they'll want
Sorry.
to go over and check out more of what I do. They'll go in the bio and see, oh, he has five free beats, cool, and that's when the whole ClickFunnels process starts. And then from there, I still have it connected to like, let's say if they go to the video and they don't book the call right there, they put their email in, so now they're going over to my Mailchimp. So then I'm still giving them, I'm still sending them emails to continue building that relationship, to continue telling my story, saying how communicating the value of what my offer or how my offer can help them. And then from there, it still converts people over to after they see it a couple times, they get to after they see it after they see my name and see what I do more times, they see, okay, you know what, this guy actually does have some value to offer me. Let's book a call and let's see what he can do. So both ways I think are really effective. In both ways, the main goal is to figure out what the artist needs, figure out what their pain points are, and then communicate how you can help them.
Cool. I like that. I like that. And it's solid start to finish. So it's like it starts with trying to help them. And I think that a lot of producers are in this for like the money side of things. And it's like if you're trying to make a quick dollar from producing, like that's the easiest way to get burned out and not want to do this. And so like I feel like it all stems from like if you're honestly trying to help them and what you're offering, it might be expensive, but they overall get a steal. Then I think that that's like what's really going to have longevity, how you're going to have longevity as a business. And
100%.
so like having that in place of like being able to communicate with them as opposed to only having a type B channel. I think is like how people who maybe aren't successful at YouTube or don't want to do YouTube as much can find a lot of success in building a brand, or just communicating with artists on a higher level.
Exactly. Like that's where even like as I started doing more short form content, I started getting because I've only been focusing on doing more custom beat work. I think probably for about maybe 2 years now. I think like I
Yeah,
used to mainly do like the leasing. Um, and even at that point, like what I noticed is that the people who end up purchasing a lease or purchasing mixing and mastering or a custom beat, it's all based off of relationship building. It's all based off of me having a heart that wants to serve people. Like it's never really been about, hey, I do this, so I'm entitled for you to pay me. No, it's I need to communicate how I actually can help someone out. So it's not just I don't
right,
just go DM someone and say, hey, I see you're an artist, buy my beats, or hey, I see that you make music, let me mix and master your music.
right.
It's hey, can I learn more about you? Okay, cool. These are your pain points. Okay, mate. And then even doing that too is sometimes it's seeing, oh, hey, this artist, they already have everything worked out. I don't need to, we don't need to proceed further. Like they already have everything worked out. Cool. Some artists are like that too. You only get that from actually communicating and talking to artists. So yeah, I
Yeah.
would say yes. Doing this, doing more like sales, like that can be really beneficial to people who, especially people who maybe they tried the type beat thing and didn't work out for them, or for even just for simply just wanting to build a better relationship with the people you're working with and just being able to charge more for what you do.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I like it. I like it. I like where you're headed with this. And so like I really do hope you have a lot more success in the future. I hope you hit 100K, the next year, this year. So
That'd be crazy.
and I think we can kind of like end it out on one last question that's more like production related because we talk branding, we talk marketing, sales, funnels, that type of thing. But when as a mixing engineer, especially like give us some sauce about like what is your favorite like mixing plugin for maybe like master or to put on it to the effects chain? And then
Mm.
what's like your favorite VST right now?
Man, okay. For mixing, I love Universal Audio plugins. I think it's different. Well, I use a variety of plugins from different companies. I love Universal Audio. I had the Apollo. I used to swear by like the DSP plugins, and I still use them all the time. But now, more recently, actually, they put a lot of them out to native. So now, or not, or yes, native. So where you don't need the interface anymore. So you can get a lot of them now. And not need to run the interface. A lot of plugins I use still do need DSP from the interface, and I love how they sound. Um, Waves is still really good. Waves was the first big bundle actually I bought.
Thanks.
Back when I was engineering, we were watching a lot of people, the artists who I was working at the time, we were watching a lot of people like mix vocals, and we saw, hey, everyone's using Waves at this time. So then I saw that
Right.
Waves always gives out discounts. So then they had the gold bundle on sale for like maybe $120 at the time. So I grabbed that. Still use plugins from that to this day. Isotope, I love Isotope. I use Ozone on pretty much every single beat and song that I make.
Got you. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess in terms of production, go to play contact. Um, well, pretty much anything from Native Instruments Complete, but mainly contact. I love. Um, I just recently got into Analog Labs. I've been loving that a lot.
Yes.
Um,
I love analog labs.
yeah,
So good.
I'm late to
So
it. I finally picked it up back in September. Um, then Serum. I've been using Serum for Serum's like been a go-to for several years. Like that was one of the first VST synths that I bought, and to this day, like I still use it a lot. So those are a lot of my go-tos. And I have Omnisphere. I don't use it as much now, but go-tos right now:
got you.
Contact, Analog Lab, Serum, and then Waves, Universal Audio, and Isotope.
Like that. I like that. Yeah. So with Serum, do you do like your own sound design or do you like buy like patches and stuff for it?
I just buy patches. I'm like
Yeah.
sound design's the one thing where like it's still like it's just goes over my head. I know enough about it to be able to manipulate a sound, but in terms of making something from scratch, it's not really my thing right now. But that's one of the reasons why actually I had gotten Serum when I first got it, because I was buying a lot of presets from Echo Soundworks at the time. They had a lot of
Okay.
presets for Massive, and then as I was getting them, they had a lot of presets for Serum, and then after a while, I was like, okay, let's try out Serum. Like I have all these presets that I'm just sitting on and just not doing anything. So then I picked up Serum, and then ever since then, it still has like a really good sound that to this day, like it's stood the test of time. So that's still a really good plugin that I recommend.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I have Serum. The reason I ask you that is I wasn't designing any of my own sounds in there. I used to do it in like the old FL Studio, plugins like, Harmor and the other one. But yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. So like you can spend a lot of time with programming in your sounds and stuff like that, and you feel better about yourself, maybe, I guess. I'm not sure, but yeah, if you go and get something from the top people like Kavi and them, like, I
Yeah.
guarantee you're gonna be happy with it. But what was that, the name of the people you were getting the massive
Oh
ones
yeah.
from?
Echo Soundworks, they give out, they're a sound design company. They have a lot of presets for Massive, for Serum, I think for Contact as well. I got a lot of for Black Friday. Kavi had a good sale going on for his Analog Labs preset. So I got a bunch of those now. Um
Crazy.
yeah, yeah. Um
Yeah,
yeah, for me, I'm definitely not a sound designer at all. I don't like all this stuff still goes over my head. I know just enough to manipulate a sound. I definitely, for me, it's a lot of people in the EDM world I found that are really particular in, oh, hey, I know how to make a bell sound from scratch. Like, is for me, like, I don't care. Like, that's not for me. If I can just get it quick and easy, like that's where I'm at.
for sure. Yeah, I'm in the same place right now, and once you start trying to like template out how you do things and try to be creative within your own like mindset and framework, like I feel like that is the best way to do it for real. So
Yeah.
so yeah, man, I think we can end it out there. Like, I appreciate you showing up for the interview, and where can people follow you if they want to stay in touch with what you're doing?
Yep. If you want to follow everything I do, my name is El Marquis. I'm a producer and audio engineer from Northern Virginia. If you want to keep up with everything I do, it's El Marquis on all social media. It's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I'm out on Spotify. I put out chill instrumentals on Spotify as well. You can look up El Marquis Productions, everything.
Appreciate you guys watching. And just like I was saying earlier, if you want to scale your business and you want to earn over 1,000 a month, 2,000, 3,000, something that's achievable to make a really profitable side hustle, or like 5 producers that I've helped scale this into a full-time income, then DM me the words "I'm interested" on Instagram. That's at Kobe Sample Source, and I'll respond back and we can hop onto a quick call and I'll see exactly how I can help your business. It's not a sales call. If you want to get further help, then we'll do a strategy call. If not, then you get some advice and I can see if you're serious about making this into a reality. So DM me the words "I'm interested" on Instagram at Kobe Sample Source. And thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.